Hi class, let's take a look at problem 3. And then, well, n is equal to 9, so degrees of freedom is going to be equal to 8. So obviously this is not to scale, but it's still a small amount of degrees of freedom, so the chi-square distribution is going to look like this. And it has 0.10 area above it. So 0.10, I'm just going to place it here. And this shaded region is actually 0.10. Okay, let's take a look at the table first. So as we look at the table, we're looking at 8 degrees of freedom. So it's going to be here. And then area above it, remember that the table only works with area above it. It's 0.10. So in this case, it's going to be this value here. The 13.362, 8 degrees of freedom, and a total of 0.10 area above it. So 13.362. And let me just write it as the table. Remember that some of these are going to be a little bit off, but this one should be okay since it's actually exactly from the table. So let's actually run the calculator. So 0.10 above it, and then 8 degrees of freedom. So running it, 13.361, which actually matches to actually 62, just a little bit off. Yeah, if you round to 3 decimal places, it'll round to 2. Let me open up StatCrunch, and then we said 8 degrees of freedom, 0.10 above it, and 13.362. And let me go back to the actual handout. So in this case, the chi-square value of approximately 13.362 has 0.10 area above when n is equal to 9. So, and that's actually it for this one. It actually matches to what we have before. Let's go to problem 4, and on problem 4, this is what you're actually going to have on well, some of the problems on the main topic of the week, which is the confidence intervals. So in this case, our degrees of freedom are equal to 30. So degrees of freedom is equal to 30. And then for the first one, we're actually going to have that, well, 2.5%, it's above it, which means that this is 0.025 area above it. So let's go to the table. And if it's not here, it'll be the closest to it. So once again, 30 degrees of freedom, which is here. And then the area above it, it's 0.025. So it's going to be this value here. So 46.979. So this value here, it's going to be approximately, so 46.979. That's going to be the value that technically have 0.025 or 2.5% area above it. Now, For the chi-square value on the left, you're technically going to read it as follows. So it's gonna have 0.95 plus the 0.025, which is gonna equal to the 0.975 area above. So okay, so this is what we're going to be looking on the table, the 0.975. So in this case, you're still looking at 30 degrees of freedom, but the 0.975, it's going to be here. So in this case, 16.791. So in this case, this one is 16.791. Okay, let's compare those two with the actual software. And in this case, for the first one, 0.025, and then a total of 30 degrees of freedom. So we're getting 46.97. So 46.979. Yep, it's actually pretty good. And then the other one, it's going to be 0.975, 16.79, and a little bit of cash, 79179, and then rounding to 3 values. Yep, this one actually matches. So let me just go to the actual final portion. In this case, let me just write them out as, well, the chi-square value on the left, it's approximately 16.791, and the chi-square value on the right, it's approximately 46.979. And this is our final answer. Now, here's the problem with the software. And I'm referring to my math lab. So if the table values are not matching, you're going to have to use the calculator. So the actual homework assignments will let you know, use the table, or they're going to provide you with a different table, since not all of these are the same. So some tables actually have a little bit more values. They'll provide you with a table, or they'll provide you with StatCrunch. You can also use that software. It may be faster than opening up a StatCrunch and then modifying it. On our end, please make sure you're clear on how to read the table. For the exam, I'll provide you with a table. So even though they're a little bit off, our calculator doesn't have it. So for this problem, you're just submitting your solutions or the sketches for all 4 problems.